up, Doc? What's cooking? What's up, Doc? Oh, you're looking for Bugs Bunny bunting. Duck is gonna hunting just to get a rabbit skin, but now the rabbit's gonna get. What's up, Doc? What's cooking? Hey, look out! Stop! You're gonna hurt someone with that old shotgun. Yeah, what's up, Doc? We really mean it. What's up, Doc?
Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner? I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody.
Yay!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. So I promised you guys a dessert today. So I did decide to make one. Of course, before we start the recipe, as always, you can reach me at zoesblindkitchencorner@gmail.com. Zoe's is without an apostrophe, and it's spelled Z-O-E-S. Of course, you can always email Victor Gouveia at whoseblindlifeisanyway@gmail.com. And you can also comment in the comment section below the YouTube video. So I promised that I was going to make a dessert, but I decided to, even though we've only done one dessert, this is our second one, I decided to do something simple today. Now, I call this Zoe's Easy Coffee Cake. It's not really mine. Why am I calling it Zoe's? I'll tell you why I'm calling it Zoe's. So when I was around 18 years old, I suddenly got the urge to learn to bake. And at the time, I didn't have the vision loss that I have now. I was visually impaired. And I was looking through cookbooks and trying different cakes and so on and so forth. And an older lady, older than my mom, her name is Gina. I don't know, the last time I saw her was maybe about 6 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't have any contact with her, and I don't know if she's still living, because she was an older woman. And I don't know if she'll ever see this video, but if she does, hi, Thea Gina. Thea means aunt. Hi, Aunt Gina. Thank you for the recipe. So she decided to show me an easy coffee cake. However, I just want to tell you a little history because she called it a vasilopita. And now you guys are going to say to me, well, say that again. And what was that? So in Greece, on New Year's Day, we celebrate, except for the fact that it's the new year, we also celebrate a saint by the name of Basil. So it's Saint Basil the Great. Well, without getting into the saints, look it up, read it. You can find his, the life of this particular saint, Saint Basil the Great. You can find a lot of things about him online. But one of the things that he did is he had a whole bunch of jewels and gold and stuff that all his congregation gave him. To be honest with you, forgive me, I don't remember the reason why. I don't remember. The church was in need. I don't remember. And in the end, he didn't have to use these items. And he wanted, as a good shepherd, and of course he became a saint, he wanted to return all the jewels and gold and whatever else he had from all the people. He wanted to return it back to them, but he didn't know what belonged to who. So whose is this ring? Whose gold coins are these? He didn't know. So he prayed and prayed and prayed to God that he would find a way to return all the riches to the people. So he came up with the idea of baking a cake or a bread or a pie, something to that effect. And he stuck in the batter pieces of jewelry and coins and so on and so forth, and basically prayed to God and said, you know, Lord, through your providence, through your wisdom, you know what belongs to who. So he cut up the cakes and he gave them out to the people. And of course, in a miraculous way, everybody got back what they ended up giving. So, his name in Greek is Vasilios, Vasili for short. So Basil, Vasilios, Vasili. And pita really means pie. So every New Year's Eve, we bake a Vasilopita, which is a New Year. Let's say it's called the St. Basil's New Year's cake. And we bake one of these cakes and we do stick symbolically a dime or a nickel. We wrap it in tin foil. We wash it, we wrap it in tin foil, and we stick it in the batter. And when we cut up our cake on New Year's Day, whoever gets that piece is blessed and has good luck for the rest of the year. So there are thousands of recipes for these New Year cakes. There's even savory pies that people do. Even if you guys have heard of the Greek tiropites, cheese pies, or chicken cheese pies, or different things like that. People do different things on New Year's Day. I would say about 60-70% though make a cake. And like I said, there's a lot of recipes. Well, supposedly this coffee cake is one of those cakes, but in comparison to some others, it was a very simple New Year's cake. And it's been, the lady who gave it to me, they had adapted it in her family as a coffee cake because it was so simple in nature compared to the New Year's cakes. And it was nice. This is just a simple cake, but it's very, very good for dipping. So if you're a tea or coffee lover, this is a beautiful cake to bake up, slice it up, and dip in your coffee and tea. Believe me, you will thank me. And it is so simple to make. It's got 7 ingredients. So I think I've talked you guys out enough. Without further ado, let me log into the iPad and give you guys, I can give you the ingredients without the iPad, but so back in great-grandma's age or grandmother's age, they didn't bake with the measuring cups and teaspoons that we have today. So this is just, I'm holding a regular coffee mug in my hand. This is what they would use. So some people have recipes passed down to them that say, 2 teacups of this, half a teacup of that, and so on and so forth. So this is kind of this recipe. This is the cup I used, and I always use for this cake, to measure out my ingredients. But I have them in grams. So that way, because you know what? Your mug might be a little smaller than mine, or it might be a little bigger than mine. In the general consensus is your flour, sugar, milk, and vegetable oil should all be measured with the same cup. So let me just put this aside. It's clean because I washed it. So let me give you the ingredients. Give me a second to log in. Alrighty. Okay, so it's only 7 ingredients. We've got 7 eggs, 2 cups sugar or 600 grams, 1 mug milk or, sorry about that guys, hold on. Let me start again, sorry about that. Doesn't always go the way you plan. Okay, so 7 eggs, 2 cups sugar or 600 grams, 1 mug milk or 340 grams. I'm using whole milk. 1 mug vegetable oil or 300 grams. I don't remember if I said the 7 eggs, but I'll say it again. 7 eggs. That's not 14, it's 7. 4 heaping teaspoons of baking powder. I use 50 grams. 1 kilogram of all-purpose flour and 4 tubes of vanilla. Now, that's it for our ingredients. This is baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you're using a Celsius range, that would be 180 degrees. So 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour. Mine takes 45 minutes, but test it out. I'm sure you guys all know how to test out a cake if it's done, but I will show you. And I'm not using your typical cake pans that are sold in North America or a 9x13. I'm using a stainless steel pan that I've gotten from Greece, but I know that if you go to like a Little Italy, so we have a Little Italy section in Toronto, and I know there's one in New York. If you go to an Italian place, you can get beautiful stainless steel or aluminum pans. I tried to measure this. My measuring tape broke in the garden. It didn't break, but I lost all the braille studs. But I tried to measure it, and I got approximately either a 13 or a 14 inch diameter. So you can't really use a 13 by 9 inch pan because then it would be short, right? Because this is 13 inches all around. You don't need to grease or flour the pan. If you want, you can put parchment paper at the bottom just to help when you remove the cake, but you don't have to. We're actually just going to eat the cake right out of the pan, so we really don't care. But if I wanted to take it out, this particular pan, this is a very good pan. It's almost got like a rough bottom to it. I can't explain it. It's a very good pan. Almost nothing sticks into this pan, even though it's just a stainless steel pan. Anyways. Okay, so did I forget to mention anything else? I mentioned the pan. I mentioned the cup. I mentioned the history. I think we're ready to go. In my stove, I'm not baking the cake all the way at the bottom of the oven. I'm going one level up. So I'm just going to preheat my oven. Give me a second. And we said 350. Okay. So, obviously this recipe is going to get a little loud because we're going to need a mixer. I'm using a stand mixer. This one is a 7-quart. I think that a 5-quart would work probably as well. Don't quote me on that. This is a big cake, a big sort of batter dose, whatever you want to call it. I'm using a 7-quart, and I'm sorry that I didn't test it out in a 5-quart. So it is going to get loud, and because of the mixer, because this is kind of a cake that during the first, at least, the instructions I got 30 years ago was not to stop the mixer from beginning to end. I'll tell you that I have stopped it and nothing happened to my cake. If you can, I may stop it now for the sake of the video just so you guys can hear me at some points. But if you can, when you're making it, just once you start it, don't stop it. So I'm using a stand mixer, like I said. Okay, so I've measured out all my ingredients. We're ready to go. And, excuse me, it's nice if your ingredients are at room temperature. So I've had my ingredients out for about half hour. So the first thing you do is we're going to plop. If I plop, we're going to be in trouble. You're going to break your eggs right into your, I'm just removing my, the paddle attachment because it's in my way. But right into the bowl, you're just going to break your eggs right into the bowl. So 1 and 2 And I'm just holding the egg above the bowl as I break it because I can hear it dripping. So I just want all the egg white to fall out. 3. Ooh, that one went plop. 3. And number 4. And I've showed you guys how to break eggs before. So I'm not going to go into that again. You can watch my previous episodes if you have any egg breaking questions. But you can always send me a message too. 5. 6. Whoops. Put too much strength in that one. And the last one I got to do on the edge of the mixer bowl. And this one I didn't do enough. Okay. 7. All right, now I want to tell you something about the eggs before we start. I'm just going to move over to the sink and rinse off the egg gut that's on my fingers. Okay. I'm going to put the paddle, I'm going to tell you something about the eggs in a second. I'm going to put the paddle attachment onto the stand mixer. Now, if you have a stand mixer, you probably know how to do this already. If you're thinking of investing in one, you don't have one, you can feel where the attachment, there's a hole. I can actually stick my finger in that hole. And if you really feel the hole, it's round with 2 little gaps on each side. And if you feel the paddle attachment, it's round with 2 little bumps sticking out. So I kind of feel to kind of line up the bumps, but I don't really have to. I can just turn, well, I got lucky now. You turn it and it just clips. It went clip, so I'm going to do it again. And it just clips in. If I put it in the wrong way, here, I'll show you. I'm just going to purposely put it in the wrong way now. Okay, so I put it in and I'm turning. Nothing's happening. It's not clicking. See? It's not clicking. I'm turning it back and forth. So I'm just going to keep turning and I'm going to shut up so you can hear it. So it finally turned. I turned and it went to, it just moves in place. And these stand mixers are good because one, your hand doesn't get tired, and it's got a shield. So it's got this round, clear shield that goes between your bowl and the top part of the appliance. And when I push the button for it to go down, it closes and the whole bowl is covered with this shield. So no splatters. There's an opening on the right side. I can feel it. And that's where that's what you use to dump your ingredients through. And for blind people, it's wonderful because you just feel a flat round surface and then you feel this sort of oval shaped thing, part of the shield protruding. And that's where you dump in your ingredients. So I'm just going to start the mixer at a very low speed. So we can start beating the eggs. So what I want to tell you about the eggs, the original recipe does say 6 to 8 eggs. And I'm using 7 just because I like the number 7. And it just, taste-wise, I've always used 7 and it turns out good. I have been in a situation where I was short and I used 6 eggs. And if you want, you can use 8 eggs. It's up to you. Sometimes if you increase the eggs, you can add an extra handful of flour if you want. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have on hand. So 7 eggs. So while this is beating, I'm going to find my sugar. Okay, which I just did. Now, because I measured out previously so I can give you guys the grams, I have all my ingredients in bowls. You could just fill up your glass, whatever, measure out 300 grams, and it'll be easier to pour into the mixer. These particular bowls that I'm using, which I just got from IKEA, they're square shaped, but the corners are a little rounded. So it's actually really good for me when I'm baking because I can just find my protruding area and I center my corner over the hole and I start to pour slowly. And we might have a few accidents, but you know, please don't worry. So I'm just pouring the sugar slowly. Now, because I'm pouring sugar, I'm going to turn up the mixer a little bit. And I think you can hear it getting loud, so I'm going to pour again. Now, if I wasn't doing this on video, I'd probably pour this a lot slower. And I did get sugar on the counter. But the sugar I'm losing is probably about a teaspoon, so I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. Sugar is in, and I probably lost about, oh, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons. And if you want, you can just add, you can add 1 or 2 teaspoons if you want. Oh, I lost quite a bit. That's nice. Yeah, I lost about a teaspoon or so. Now, I want this to be, I'm turning up the mixer to medium, and I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Now I have to put it up to my ear so I can hear it. And I'm going to check on it in a bit. So, the vanilla tubes. Let's go over here a little bit so maybe the sound is a little better. Actually, hold on. All right. Let's go over here. Here, I'll turn the lights on. So, I have the timer. Whoops. Okay. I have the timer in my hands so that we can hear when the 5 minutes is up. I want to talk to you guys again about these vanilla tubes. I told you guys in the previous dessert recipe that we did that I get these vanilla tubes from Greece and they have vanilla powder in them. I'm not telling you guys to go to Greece and get them. You can probably find vanilla powder at your supermarket. I think it's just called vanilla and it's in the baking section and it's in a tiny jar. If you can't and you have a Greek bakery near you, go ask them for it. Little jar of vanilla for cakes, tell them. And they'll give it to you. Tell them it's a powder. They'll know. And if you don't have that option, add 1 or 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. The pure vanilla extract, which I have done in the past when I didn't have these. I'm using 4 tubes. If you were to get the little jars, the bulk, then you would put a heaping teaspoon of vanilla powder or 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. It's up to you. So our timer just told me we're at 3 minutes, and I'm gonna go back over to the mixer and I'm gonna add this vanilla into our egg sugar mixture. All right. 1. And they smell beautiful when you open them up. 2. And number 4. Okay, the next thing you're going to add in is your milk. And I'm going to try not to spill it. I'm just going to check on the timer. I need to put it up to my ear because of the mixer going. And it should be talking soon, I hope. Hello, timer. You got something to tell me? It's not saying anything. So it's probably just about close to the 1 minute mark. Maybe not. Where is it?
1:14.
Yeah, see, I just wasn't patient enough. So we have about 1 minute and 14. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys now. Because I ended up spilling the sugar a little bit, I only lost a couple of teaspoons, but I don't want to risk it with the liquid. So I'm going to, when the 5 minutes is up, I'm going to stop the mixer and I'm going to show you guys. So we're at the 40-second mark. I want the full 5 minutes. I want the sugar to dissolve as much as possible. I want the eggs to get fluffy. So we've got 30 seconds. 30. We're at the 20 seconds. All right, timer is up. You can even beat this for even longer, for even 7 minutes. Now, remember I said I'm stopping it for the sake of, because I measured out the ingredients and I don't want to spill them. The second reason I'm doing it is I want to show you guys. The third, if you can, when you measure out your milk, you might measure whatever the amount was that I gave you, the 1 mug, I think was, oh, what was it? I don't remember. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was in grams. I think it was 300 grams. Anyhow, I know the oil was 300 grams. Anyhow, when you go back to the beginning of the episode, you can look and see what it was. You can measure it out in a big glass that fits, and then you can tip it without stopping the mixer. So I'm just going to take the bowl and tip it over right into the mixer. And I'm just shaking over the bowl to get all the milk out. And I'm going to close the mixer and I'm going to start off mixing slow. And then we're going to put in our oil. So I'm just going to turn this up for about a minute. And you can count or you can use a timer like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and I'm not going to count out the whole minute for you guys. So we'll just wait. And I already heard my oven preheat. It already went off, so our oven is ready way before our cake is ready. Okay, I'm stopping it, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm opening up the mixer, and I'm going to tip in the vegetable oil. Now, please do not use olive oil in this cake. It makes the cake, you can taste the olive oil too much, and it makes it taste awful. You can use, I have never used canola, but I'm sure it would be a good option. I wouldn't use coconut oil because, again, I think it'll alter the taste too much. I prefer the vegetable oil out of everything. So we're going to mix this up again. And I've got my baking powder measured out. It's 4 heaping teaspoons, which was about 50 grams. If it's 45, it's okay. If it's 60, it's okay. I wouldn't go past 60, okay? So I'm just gonna tip this in. Okay. And for those who are sighted, this is about how much sugar I lost. So it's probably about a teaspoon, I would say. Maybe a heaping teaspoon. It isn't gonna make your cake taste differently. So, just gonna turn it up a little. So we've added in our eggs, our sugar, our vanilla, our milk, and our oil. Wait. Wait. Sugar, eggs, oil, milk, vanilla, and baking powder. 6 ingredients. Now we've got the 7th. I'm just gonna grab a spoon. Just a regular teaspoon. And I want you guys to add, I'm bringing the bowl of flour right next to the mixer, and I'm just scooping and adding. Because I'm doing it teaspoon at a time, believe me, the mixer, it's got enough time to mix it up. I'm gonna turn it up just a touch. You want to add your flour slowly. So this is why we say don't stop the mixer until you're finished. So you just take teaspoon at a time and add it in. By the time I scoop out the next one, that one's already mixed, because you've got a high-powered mixer. If you're doing it by hand, I mean with a handheld mixer, it might take a little bit longer. So you just keep adding flour, and you might lose a few grams. It's okay. Actually, today when I measured this out, it was 1,002 grams. I wasn't going to take 2 grams out, because in this particular cake, it doesn't matter. So, just adding flour while I'm talking to you. And when I scoop, I just feel for the edge of this. I've got my left hand on one edge, and then with my right hand, I'm scooping and going near my left hand. I'm feeling the edge of this protruding part of the shield, and I'm just adding. And I'm just adding. And I think, we may even already have added half the flour. Okay. And again, now, because I've added quite a bit, I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. Okay, and continue adding. I have my friend Kathy, who I gave her this recipe because she wanted a cake recipe that wasn't complex. She adds icing to it. And her family likes it. I don't like it with icing because I like the plain coffee cake taste that I can dip into my coffee. So to each his own. If you want to try it with an icing, by all means go ahead. This is a cake, like I said, as a New Year's Eve cake. Back in the villages in Greece, they would just dust it with icing sugar, and then they would take almond slivers or thin slices of almond, and they would use the almonds to put the year, to write the year on. They didn't have these fancy pens and icing bags. So they would just take the almonds and they would write with the almonds on the cake, I don't know, 1932 or 1948 or whatever the year was. And we're almost there. We've got probably about a quarter left. And I'm just gonna turn up again a little. Oh, maybe more than a quarter. I thought it was about a quarter, but it's more. But okay, we'll just keep adding. And I'm just gonna add a little faster now, so I don't have you guys sitting here listening to my mixer for 20 hours. And even though I talk a lot, and it sounds like a complex cake, it really isn't. It's just 7 ingredients, all in one bowl. And when I was 20, I didn't have a stand mixer. I did this all with a handheld mixer. So I had my ingredients all measured out next to me, and with one hand, I would hold the handheld mixer, and with the other hand, I would pour. So believe me, it's a very easy cake, and it's very doable. And it's very hard, very hard to mess it up. All right, let's see how much we got left. Woo. All right. Still got quite a bit. I keep thinking we're at the 1/4 of the flour, but not. And it's not for me, I don't care, I love baking. But it's just I don't want to bore you guys. But I want to do the whole thing right in front of you guys. I could have put the video on hold and said, you know, hey, when I'm done putting all the flour in, we'll come back. But I am going to put you guys on hold while it's baking. So I thought, I'm not going to put them on hold too many times today. All right, there's not too much left though. So what I'm going to do, I stopped the mixer, and like I said, because I'm putting in the flour, I probably lost about a teaspoon. It doesn't matter. Maybe not even. I don't feel flour around. I do feel sugar. So I'm just going to dump the rest of the flour in, because most of our flour's in anyway. And I'm just tapping the bowl. Whoops. Okay, so good. I like when accidents happen. So I dumped in all our flour, but as I was tapping, the shield fell. So I need to put the shield back on. This is hard, even for me. It's got these little, maybe you can come around this side. It's got these little gaps in the top part of the appliance, and you have to line it up. Now, and then you have to press in. And I'm lucky because I got it right away. Usually it takes me half an hour. So I'm just going to close the mixer in again. We've dumped in all our flour. And I'll start up the mixer again. So, I'm going to lower it for a second. So what just happened? Because I dumped in the flour without doing it slowly, like I told you guys to do it, as I started the mixer, out of this protruding part that we have to pour our ingredients, a bunch of flour decided to hit me in the hand. So I lost probably, I guess, another teaspoon. So I will, I'm going to put this on high for a second, and I'm just going to run and grab a teaspoon of flour. So give me 30 seconds. Since I lost, I'm lucky it didn't hit me in the face. I just grabbed a bag of flour that I have, and I'm just gonna scoop out a heaping tablespoon of flour, and I'm gonna pour it in, and I've got my hand on top of the hole so that it doesn't splatter all over the place. Okay, I'm going to stop the mixer for a second because what I want to do is I want to help my mixture. I'm going to open up the stand mixer, and I'm just going to take a regular tablespoon. You can use a rubber spatula, and I'm just going to go around the sides and just kind of push the sides into the middle. Sorry about that. I had to go on the other side. Just in case there's some flour at the edges of the walls, I'm just pushing it all in the middle. All right. And this is actually my chance to feel the batter. And it's pretty good. It's pretty sticky. It should be a sticky cake batter. And I'm just washing the batter off, rinsing the batter off my hands. I'm going to give it one final mix. And I just touched the bag of flour with my wet hands. Nice. All right. I'm just going to clear the counter while we're giving it that final mix so I can show you guys now how I'm going to pour it into the pan. Whoops. I'm just wiping up the counter from any sugar, flour, whatever I may have dropped. And I got my pan, and that's good enough. Alrighty. So, if you have kids, this is the fun part. I just pulled off the paddle attachment, and the camera I'm sure can see that it's dripping off my paddle attachment, but slowly. And I'm just going to push whatever I can off with my finger. And it's, like I said, it's sticky. You're not going to get it all off. So it's a sticky batter. It's a thick batter. Smells delicious. And yes, I have licked my fingers in the past from this. So people eat cookie dough. Why not cake batter? And I'm just pushing it off. Now, if when you make this cake, you feel that you want it a little more moist, add a little bit less flour. I wouldn't go too much less, but for example, I added 1 kilogram, you can go 950 grams. Add, maybe a tablespoon of milk more. You'll see to your taste. That's, like I said, it's a sticky batter. So it's hard to get off the paddle attachment. So that's good enough. I'm not even going to fuss with it anymore. And I'm just trying to get the batter, because like I said, it's sticky, off my fingers. And I'm going to remove the shield, throw that into the sink. Now, I'm going to unplug the appliance. Give me 1 second. I'm actually moving the appliance off the counter. All right. And I'm just going to remove the bowl just because I want you guys I want to move to the light. And I just felt guck on my counter. That's okay. And we're going to I feel my pan. I'm actually here. I'm right in the middle of the pan now. I've placed my mixer bowl. I'm touching the middle of the pan. So I'm just going to tip it over and shake a little. It will eventually fall out. Yeah. So I probably added a little bit too much flour, but it's still going to turn out good. I promise. And I need the help of either my hand or a spoon. Alrighty. There we go. And I'm just pushing it out with my hands. And like I said, actually, to be honest with you guys, it should be thick, but maybe not this thick. We'll see when it turns out. I'll let you guys know. Like I said, they didn't have measuring cups back then. So I tried to measure things out for you guys today, and maybe I added a little bit too much flour. It's okay. So it does fall out of the bowl, but very slowly and miserably. And it sticks to your hand as well. All right. Okay, I'm going to put down the bowl for a second because I've got it all over my hands. See how much we can get off my fingers. We don't want to lose this stuff. This is good stuff, guys. You don't want to lose it. All right. Yeah. Oh! I just got batter on you, I think.
Okay.
Like I said, people eat cookie dough. You can eat the batter, you know. Ow! Somebody turned it to really hot. Ow. Okay. Now, even though there's more in the bowl, and I will get to it, what I want you guys to do is I just want you to shake the pan. Shake, 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 shake. Give it a few taps. You want to get rid of any air bubbles. And shake, 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 shake. You just want to shake and get it all to move to the edges. Now there's more left in here, so I need to fuss with this, and it's going to take me a while to get it out. So again, I added just a touch too much flour. Sorry about that, guys. But again, I'm going to let you guys know. I'm going to show you the cake in the end. It's going to taste fantastic. So I'm just going to put you guys on hold so I can grab spoons and, well, I guess I could show you, but you're going to watch me fuss. I'm going to try with a spoon now to get the rest of it out because there's still a lot left in here. This is a shame. This is a shame for it to go to waste. So I'm just pushing it out with a regular tablespoon. And even with the spoon, I can still feel that there's stuff in here. And I'm tapping the spoon against the edge of the pan to release it. Okay, let's see what's left. I got most of it. There's a few teaspoons left, I would say. So now I'm using my hands again, guys. And I told you, should I put you on hold or should I let you guys watch me fuss? That's okay. You know what? I'd rather let you guys watch me fuss. Because that way, if it happens to you and you add too much flour like I did, you'll know what to do. And I'm just swiping, and it's all sticking. And that way I can drop most of it off my hands. So, right now there's not a lot on my hands, okay? The camera will show you. And if I just keep scooping out of the bowl, I'm going all around. I'm going all around the walls. This will eventually build up. And I think we're good enough. I think we're good to go. Very little left. And I'm just going to use the spoon to get it off my fingers this time, which I should have done before, instead of throwing away my 2-3 tablespoons that I did. You're not going to get it all off your fingers, but, you know, try to get most of it. All right. Okay, good enough. Doesn't matter. If at this point you're curious and you put your finger in and you feel like your cake is not all the way to the wall, you can use a spoon to push it. You can keep shaking, or you can just leave it as is. The cake in the oven will spread. But I'm a perfectionist and I shouldn't have put that spoon in the sink. And I'm just going to grab another one and I'm going to shake. And I'm actually going to tilt a little because I want to get it everywhere. And I'm just going to push it. I'm just spreading it now with the spoon. All right. And I'm going to tilt a little and I'm going to shake. Good enough. I don't care. Okay. So, when we put a cake or any food, when we cook any cake or food in the oven, or you're cooking, or whatever the case may be, we give it the sign of the cross in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So the Lord will bless our food, and it'll come out fantastic. And I'm just going to stick it in the oven. Hot oven. And I'm just going to, I forgot to put my oven mitts on, so I'm just going to approximate. And I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes. 30, 41, 42, 45 minutes. And I pressed the minute button after I pressed start, and it didn't beep, so that means our timer's working. 45 minutes will give me plenty of time to clean up while the cake is ready. Again, people in my family have said, Zoe, you don't need to point out your mistakes on the video. But I want to. I don't want to pretend that I'm perfect. I don't want to pretend that I know it all. And I just felt batter on my hands, even though I rinsed them. Okay. Like I said, my batter was a little bit too thick it was a little bit thicker than usual. So I probably just added a little bit too much flour, or maybe I added a few teaspoons less of milk. Who knows? If I wasn't on video right now and I saw that it was this thick, I could have left it in the mixer and I could have added, 1 or 2 tablespoons of milk to thin it out a little bit. I can't be bothered because I know it's still going to turn out, because I've never made this cake where the batter was this thick, but I have made this cake in the past where maybe I had a little less than a cup of milk. So I had to alter the amount of flour, or whatever the case may be. So I just want to show you guys that it's still going to turn out good. So we'll be back in 45 minutes, approximately, to show you the final result. One episode without a blooper. One episode. It's okay. Bloopers are funny. So we'll be back in 45 minutes to show you the result. See you in a bit. Hey guys, we're back. Our timer's going off. So I'm just going to turn off the timer. It's been 45 minutes. I had lots of time to clean up. And we're going to check on our cake. So I'm just putting on my 1 oven mitt. Okay. And steam, pulling out the tray. And I'm just going to feel it with my hand. Yeah, so when I spread the cake, I didn't do a good job. So I've got a little mountain, a little booby. But that's okay. I'm going to insert my knife. And it comes out. I can't see. I'm going to put my fingers and feel. There's nothing on my knife. So our cake is ready. So I'm just going to grab my other oven mitt and grab the cake. And close the oven door. Now, like I said, I'm going to put it directly on my wire rack. And I'm handling it with oven mitts. Very hot, be careful. Okay, got the oven mitts off. And I'm just going to pierce it one more time for you guys. So you can see that here, the cake is a little higher than here. It's got like a little boobies here. Boobies. Yeah, so I'm just going to pierce it again. And, whoops, sorry. There it goes. I'm going to do it again. And it comes out totally clean. So 45 minutes, it's ready. So, again, if I panicked because it was so thick, and this is where I make the mistakes. So this is what I got to get used to doing on video when I'm cooking for you guys. I got to learn, just because I'm on video, I got to learn not to panic. I got to get my mind working as my mind normally works in the kitchen when I'm cooking. I guess I've got a little bit of anxiety because I'm doing it on camera and I'm doing it for you guys. And I've got a little bit of anxiety. So maybe this is why I'm making the mistakes or whatever. But again, Our cake is done. It smells fabulous. It, for the most part, looks fabulous. We need to let it cool down. You can't cut into this while it's hot. So we need to let it cool down, and it's a pretty big cake. So I think I'm gonna let it cool down for about 2 hours, and I'm going to come back and cut a piece and show you guys. But before I let you go, so we can wait for the cake to cool down, I'm just going to grab the iPad one more time. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry. Where do you want me? Here?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I'm just going to run down the ingredients one more time, just because at one point I mentioned the milk and I couldn't remember what the grams were for the milk. So I'm just going to run down the ingredients for you guys one more time. Give me 1 second. Again, to unlock the iPad. And I'm just typing in the password. And I'm opening up the Notes app. And I'm using the rotor motion to turn my rotor to lines. And I'm swiping down and I hear each ingredient as I tell you guys. So it's 2 cups sugar or 600 grams, 1 mug milk or 340 grams, 1 mug vegetable oil, 300 grams, 7 eggs, 4 heaping teaspoons of baking powder or 50 grams, 1 kilogram of all-purpose flour, 4 tubes of vanilla, and we talked about that, or 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Did I forget anything? 7 eggs, sugar, milk, oil, baking powder, vanilla, and flour. That's it. 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 minutes. For my stove, it's 2nd level from the bottom. And a big pan, at least 13 inches in diameter. If it's 12 inches, that's fine as well. Don't use a non-stick pan for this. It'll burn. Use an aluminum or stainless steel pan. And we'll be back in a couple of hours with our cut up piece of cake and of course a cup of coffee and just to say goodbye. So that's our New Year's cake. We'll see you in a couple of hours. Hi guys, we're back. So I would say about 2.5 hours have gone by. Our cake is actually still a touch warm in the center, but it isn't a big deal. I've already cut up a piece, and I have a cup of coffee ready, so that's for my mom. So she's, as you can see, she's gonna slice it up and dip it in her coffee. So I just want to show you guys that what I did is I took a butter knife and I just put it at the, here I'll do it on this side. I put it at the edge between the cake and the wall of the pan, and I ran it just around, just in case something in the, like on the side has stuck. And I just ran it all the way around. And then I cut up a piece. Now, the first piece is always going to crumble on you. Don't worry. You can give it to your kids. You can eat it yourself. You can do whatever you want. So then you just, I have one of these cake spatulas. So it's a long, it's a square, and it feels like a triangle. Yeah, that's what I would say it feels like. But the top is not pointy, it's rounded. But on the one side, it's got teeth. So at the top, from halfway down the spatula all the way to the top rounded part on one side, it's got teeth. So this is a spatula but you use it as a knife as well. So I'm just going to show you. So there's already a couple of pieces cut out. One you guys saw on the plate. So I'm just going to cut another piece to show you guys. So how's a blind person going to get a nice cut? So I feel with my hands where the cut piece is. So I have my hand in the empty space of the pan right now. And I can feel with my fingers, I can feel the side of the cake. If I go all the way to where the cut is, so from the edge of the pan, I follow the cake until I bump into more cake. Okay? So I put my tip of the spatula at that edge. I line it up. So the edge of the spatula is touching my finger. And I insert, so even the knife, if it was a knife or a spatula, and then I cut, I cut this one too big, okay? But I cut all the way, I slice all the way right to the edge of the pan. And then I'm gonna, see now, what I did is I cut the first two pieces just fine. Again, this is, I guess, the anxiety coming in, but I'm just gonna lift this piece so you can see. I'm just sticking the spatula underneath. So it's a good triangle. The problem is that it's a huge piece. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it on a plate. So I grabbed a dessert plate and I'm just gonna put it on the plate. It's a triangle, but it's huge. That's way too big to serve to somebody. So I ended up cutting it too big. And like I said, look at the first piece I cut when I wasn't on video. Nice, perfect triangle. Okay, so that's basically how you slice it up. Now, storage. This is a huge cake. You can cut it up into pieces. You can cut it up into squares. You can cut it up into triangles, whatever you want. And you can put it in a cake tray. Put the cover on the cake tray. And that way it stays nice and soft and fresh. You put it on your counter. Whoever wants can go by, open up the cake tray, serve themselves. That's one way to do it. The other way is leave it in the pan and let people cut portions from the pan. But once it cools completely, and like I said, I just heard the time go off that it's 7 p.m. So it's been 3 hours since we made it, and it's still a little warm in the center. So before I go to bed tonight, because I'm not going to put it in a cake tray right now, I'm just going to cover this with cling wrap. I'm going to cover the whole pan with cling wrap. It'll do the same deal as a cake tray would. This cake will last. I know there's eggs in it, guys. I understand. And you're supposed to say, it'll last 2-3 days. I will tell you for sure that this will last at least 5 days on your counter. Unless it's scorching hot and you're having 40-degree days and you don't have air conditioning, then by all means put it in the fridge. But if you just have regular temperature, leave it out on your counter or somewhere, where people can just cut pieces, your kids, your husbands, your wives, whatever the case may be, moms, dads. And believe me, with coffee, it'll be gone before the 5 days. So that's our dessert for today. Very easy. Oh, and by the way, again, I panicked about the thickness of the cake. Cake turned out fantastic. The taste is fabulous. The texture is fabulous. It's not, so I'm just going to pick up this piece here, or maybe I'll pick up this piece that's bigger. It's not too mushy. Look, I have the cake in my hands and I'm kind of wiggling it around with my fingers and it's not falling apart. So I can actually slice this up and dip it into coffee. Don't dip for, 20 seconds. Then you're just going to get a cup of coffee with cake in it. I'm sure you all know how to dip, for God's sakes. But I was worried about it being thick. I was worried about this and that. It turned out just fine, just like I said it would. It's a no-fail cake. The only thing that I did wrong, really, today, is I didn't spread it properly. So, like I said, this part of the cake is higher. This part is lower. So, if you serve this, can somebody know that? If you serve this piece of cake, can somebody, you're serving it to a guest, will your guest know that in the pan, this part was the lower part? No, they won't. If you serve a piece that's higher, will they know that in the pan it was uneven? No, they won't. And the cake still turned out fabulous. Now, if you're serving to two guests at the same time, yeah, maybe you should try to serve from the same side of the pan, or just go slower than I did and spread it out nicely. So that's our recipe for today. I've got the coffee and cake ready. I need to go serve everybody, even though we haven't had dinner yet. I guess this is going to be our afternoon snack. I don't know when we're going to have dinner and if we're going to have dinner today. Not that hungry anyways. Yeah, too much information that you guys don't need to know about. But anyhow. Okay, guys. I love you as always. Hope you enjoy this recipe. And we'll see you on the next episode. I think we're coming with pork next. Don't quote me. It's not set in stone. I didn't sign it on a dotted line, but that's what I think we're doing next, pork. So pork and vegetables. If you kind of want to maybe buy your ingredients for next week and maybe see the video and have all your ingredients on hand, what can I tell you? Onions, carrots, celery, a boneless pot roast. You can do beef or pork. I'm doing pork. Worcestershire sauce. Sorry guys, but I can't pronounce it. Beef broth, cornstarch, chicken bouillon cubes. What else should you have on hand? Garlic, frozen green peas, and water. That's basically the ingredients that we're going to need for next episode. And it's funny because I just gave you guys a list and watch me not do this episode next week. That would be very funny. Anyhow, okay guys. Love you guys very much. A blind kiss to you, definitely to you. See you next week. Bye. I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.